This shirt makes me feel like I'm going on a safari. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we're going to be talking about all the books that I've read so far in 2023. I have read 28 books so far and I'm loving, I almost love all of the books that I have read. So it's been a really good reading year for me so far. You know, there were a couple of DNFs along the way, but really not too bad. And so I'm gonna share them with you. So if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below. And without further ado, let's jump into the video. So I started the year with the Ember and the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. I had them kind of spread out just because the books were so large, but we're gonna start with that series first. It is a YA fantasy series. It has 4 books and it centers around a girl named Laya. There is this kingdom that is under this martial empire rule and it's super mean. Like that's like the worst way to describe this empire. They really just look down upon this group of people called the scholars. Laya is considered a scholar, so she is like low class. A lot of traumatic things happen in her life. She's looking for aid from the resistance and they're like, all right, well, you need to be a spy for us. And she gets infiltrated into the military academy in order to get information for the resistance. That's where she meets Elias. He is a martial soldier training to become a mask, which is like they instill order. So they're not really great guys or girls, but yeah, their worlds collide and the story just goes from there.
It's emotional, it's amazing, the world is exquisite, the writing is immaculate.
And I recommend it to everybody. It is a 5-star series for me. So happy I read it. And that's how we started the year with. So chef's kiss right from the start. And then because my heart just really loves YA and trauma, we started the Shatter Me series right after that. So that's a 6-book series right there if you don't read the novellas. So there is novellas that go along with it, but if you're not interested in reading the novellas, then I would just recommend reading the 6-book series. We have Shatter Me, Unravel Me, Ignite Me, Restore Me, Defy Me, and Imagine Me. I don't want to get too much into it, but I did make a full reading vlog on this, and that is a series that also was a 5-star for me. Each book wasn't like amazing. Some of them were better than others, but overall the story was really awesome. I love the characters. I fell in love with one of the characters named Warner. He's like my favorite person in the series, and highly recommend this book if you are interested in the Hunger Games, if you're interested in X-Men, if you're interested in taking over a corrupt government. Yeah, it's just, it was so good and very fun, easy to read, great for like any age, I think. So yeah, go read it if you haven't. Then I attempted to read Zodiac Academy, Sorrow and Starlight. That's book 8 in the Zodiac Academy series, and I have DNF'd that book. I have DNF'd the series. We're done with it. I tried my hardest and it just really went downhill. I was pushing through as much as possible to get through that series and I just couldn't do it. It was too much for me. It got really graphic and more sexual with each book. And I know some people don't mind that, but I personally mind it. And then it just started getting like very repetitive and they were pushing so much fluff and side characters and subplots that didn't need to be added. They really could have just wrapped up the series in maybe 4 or 5 books. We're on book 8 and they're making a book 9 right now. And I'm pretty sure there's like novellas as well. It's crazy. So
if you like trash TV, maybe you'll like the series, but I just couldn't do it anymore. So we're moving right along. That's all I have to say about that.
Then I read Only Mine by Laura Pavlov. That is a Honey Mountain series book. I think it's book 5 and it centers around one of the sisters in this Honey Mountain series. So each book revolves around a different sister and their love life. So this one is more of like a workplace enemies to lovers romance. I'm not typically a fan of workplace romances. I find them highly unrealistic, but this one was cute. I did like this one. It wasn't like my favorite out of the Honey Mountain series, but it was still a good time, and I think I gave it a 3-star rating. Again, it wasn't bad. I just don't always prefer workplace romances, but the series as a whole is definitely worth reading if you're into small town romances and country living and just really cute family dynamics and friendships and things like that. It has great banter, and Laura Pavlov is just a really good romance writer, so highly recommend checking her out. Then we kind of switched gears and I went to suspense, and I read The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, and I read that in like just a couple of hours. It's not a big book. It's one of those like you can just whiz by. I would recommend reading this book by the pool, on the plane, if you have to kill some time. A great book to just speed read through. Easy to read, easy to follow. The plot is engaging from start to finish, and I really enjoyed the plot twist at the end. I kind of saw it coming, but I'm glad that it happens that way because I kind of like when I can figure it out. I feel like a detective. So highly recommend Frida McFadden. I need to read more of her books. If you have recommendations from her specifically, put them in the comments. But yeah, this book was so fun to read. I think I gave this a 4-star rating, but thinking back, I probably could give it 5 stars because it was just really, really good suspense. The next book was a 5-star. This is my favorite book of 2023 so far. We got a top contender, so I'm interested to see how at the end of the year what my thoughts are, if I find a book that can beat this. But Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, I'm sorry, but if you've read that book, I think you'll understand why I'm talking so highly about it, because Wendell Bumblebee has my heart and soul. He can do no wrong. He's perfection in every way, shape, and form. And I want him to be my best friend. He's awesome. Heather Fawcett wrote this book, and I just loved her writing style. It was magical. It reminded me of Once Upon a Broken Heart, and it makes me want to check out more of her books. I think she's only done like middle grade books, so maybe I'll check those out, but I'm so excited. There's going to be more to this story. She's writing book 2, and if you have not read this book, it is about Emily Wilde. She works for this university, and she is on her way to do some research for like some big project that she's working on in order to, you know, get more recognition and stuff through the university and study this specific group of fairies in this town. So we have our mortal world commingling with this fairy world, and you get a lot of fun little mythological folklore mixed in with the storytelling. You have footnotes because we're reading this encyclopedia as the book. So it's almost like her journal entries and her footnotes. It's so cool. I love that originality in the writing, in the text. I love the dialogue with these characters. I made so many notes. I highlighted, I tabbed. I just got so worked up in it, and I actually want to reread it now. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, if you haven't read it and you're interested in fairies, if you like whimsical writing, if you like funny banter, because we have kind of like a academic rivalry going on in this book, so that made it very fun and enjoyable to read as well. I think you'll like this book. Then I read Meeting Mr. Baston by Jodi Marie Mackin. This was an ARC I received, and I really liked it. It's a historical romance, and it is set in, I think, the early 1800s in London. We have 2 sisters. One goes missing and the other one is like on this quest trying to find her. She is on the search with her father and his colleagues, and one of those colleagues is someone that she is not a fan of. He is a rake, and they kind of are trying to work together to find her sister, but a relationship kind of starts blossoming there, and it's a good time. I actually really enjoyed this book. Normally historical romances are pretty cheesy in my opinion, but I think this series was very original. So if you're interested in historical romances, check this out. I think this is her debut novel, and she deserves more hype. Then I read The Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This is book 3 in the Dreamland Billionaires series, and I loved this book. This was probably my favorite out of the 3 books in this series, although Terms and Conditions was really good as well. I gave this a 4-star rating because I loved Callahan's story. I loved his second chance romance. I think it's so sweet that they were friends and then they were lovers and then they got separated, or you know, the trauma that goes on there. They're kind of forced together, so we have forced proximity as well. and we're dealing with a lot of trauma and addiction stuff, and so trigger warnings there if you are interested in that. But this book it just hit all the points that I wanted in a contemporary romance, and it was a great ending to this series, so I'm very happy that it turned out that way. I recommend reading this one and Terms and Conditions, not the fine print, because that one was... But yeah, definitely enjoyed that book a lot. Took a brief intermission to have some lunch, and I think my hair finished drying, so we're gonna get on back with this video. Sorry for this weird transition. The next book I read was The Hunter by Kerrigan Byrne. It is also a historical romance, and we have an assassin. He is tasked to get rid of this one singer girl. She's like an opera singer, and he finds that he can't do it. He feels like something's wrong with this assignment, so he starts digging, and he uncovers a whole bunch of stuff. So it's cute. It was a good time. It's book 2 in a series called The Victorian Rebels, so I recommend checking out that series. They are all standalones, but you can read them together if you want, and it's cute. I liked it. It was fun. It was kind of cheesy. I liked book 1 more, but I still recommend it if you're interested in like assassins and historical romances. And I read The Hound of the Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I read this as a ChatGPT challenge, like I let the AI pick my books, and this was one of the recommendations, and I read it through the library pretty quickly. It was like a short story, so it centers around Dr. Watson. It's through his kind of POV as he tries to solve this case, and it's really cute. If you're interested in classics, if you like cozy mysteries, I think you should pick it up. He's worth checking out. If you have not read any of the Sherlock Holmes adventures, then this may be one you could be interested in. Then I read Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is book 3 in the Chestnut Springs series. I really like this series. If you're interested in like westerny cowboy type of romances, I think it's really cute. The storylines are great. I like the plots for all of them, and Powerless centers around a hockey player and his kind of like best friend, so it's like friends to lovers, and it was really sweet. I liked the storyline, and I liked the character Jasper. He was just like a sweetheart the entire time, and I felt for him. So definitely worth checking out if you like small town romances, friends to lovers. Yeah. The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent is a vampire fantasy romance, and this was really similar to ACOTAR in terms of like trials. So if you remember that scene from the book, then this will give you those vibes, but it's really centered around like this vampire kingdom taking advantage of humans, and we have a human growing up in this kingdom. She was kind of like adopted by the king, and she is trying to do these trials in order to gain some power. So she has an alliance with this like really formidable guy who is a vampire, and yeah, things happen from there. Book 2 comes out this month. Super excited for that, and it was fun. I think I gave it a 4-star rating. So if you're interested in, if you like Carissa Broadbent's writing and you like vampires, you like fantasy romance, you like trials, worth checking out. Then I read Into the Tide by Laura Pavlov. I also received this as an ARC, and it was so cute. I love the Cottonwood Cove series. This is book 1, and it was so cute. It makes me want to like find a small town, like small lake town, get like a cute little cottage, just stay there for the summer.
So cute.
So yeah, this was brother's best friend's romance. That always gets me like tongue-tied, so I think I said it correctly. And we have a girl coming back home from college. She's about to start a new job, but she's saving some money, and she's in town. She works at her brother's best friend's bar. He sees her and he's just like swooning. In a nutshell, that's the book. Then I read Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is like a dark sci-fi and mystery. So really cool, definitely out of my element. Not something I have really read ever, but it was cool. I did a whole vlog on that as well, and definitely recommend checking out if you are a fan of V.E. Schwab's writing. She has really great storytelling. It's a little more mature. I would not say this young adult at all, but if you're interested in a dark adult sci-fi with questionable characters, you're gonna question morality. A lot of themes in this book are questioning good versus evil, and you know, superhero complexes and all of that. Loved it. It was so good. Then I started Dark Shores by Danielle L. Jensen. This is another young adult fantasy series, and this centers around a kind of like a ship town where we do a lot of merchant trading, kind of like pirates, if you will, but not like smuggling and, you know, hurting people. They're just like good people that work on the ship, you know, and they're forced to work for this empire that's under the rule of this like not really great guy. And we have enemies to lovers. We have the girl who works on the ship, and then we have a soldier that works for the empire, and they are on a quest to do some discoveries. And yeah, it was really good. I'm excited to read the rest of this series. If you're interested in enemies to lovers, if you're interested in like ships and sailing and pirate type of stuff, I think you would just love this book. And I started the Eden series, and I read Indigo Ridge and Juniper Hill. It is another small town romance series on Kindle Unlimited. I gave both of these actually I think I gave book 1 a 4-star rating, and then I gave Juniper Hill a 3-star rating, but they're really good, both of them. It just depends on your type of romance. So the first one is like a grumpy sunshine type of book, and then like insta love, and then book 2 is a single mom trope. So just depends on what your cup of tea is, but they're really cute. I love the romance and the plot lines. The plot twists at the end were really interesting, and you can find them on Kindle, by the way. Super cute. The last series I read is the Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson. This was another 5-star series for me, probably one of my favorite series I've read so far this year. This is a fantasy world. We have young adult, but it is kind of borderline adult fantasy just because of the writing and the storytelling. Not that there's any explicit scenes. It's very fade to black. Nothing really happens spice-wise, but you have amazing storytelling, world building. You have corrupt empires, you have alliances, you have a runaway bride, you have an assassin, you have a prince. There's so much happening in this series, and the last book actually, and I think every book had me in tears at some point, so it was good. I highly recommend checking that out if you have not read that, but you really liked The Bridge Kingdom or Dance of Thieves, that duology. I think you will like this type of writing as well. I just sped through all of those. I hope that all made sense, but that is the 28 books I have read so far in 2023. I am on track to read 100 books this year. I don't know if I'm gonna get there, but we're gonna try. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you have read these books, what you think about them, if you are interested in checking any of these out for yourselves. I would love to start a conversation. And if you have any book recommendations for the rest of this year, please let me know. I am always on the hunt for some good books. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you again so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you in my next video.